Hi, welcome back. I'm Elisa, and we're going to continue with the nervous system. We're going to talk about myelination, nerve fibers, and conduction, as well as some of the pathologies we know about. So I just need to let you know, this particular one was originally kind of long, so this is going to be part one, okay? So it's going to be like a two-parter. All right, let's get started. So let's talk about some of the basics of myelination. So myelination starts with myelin, right? And so what myelin is essentially all of the proteins that happen to place themselves on these like little rings as a cell. In this case, this is the peripheral nervous system, so we're looking at a Schwann cell. So a Schwann cell is going to come up to the axon of a neuron, right? And so they're separate from the neuron itself. And so technically they're a glial cell, and it's going to start wrapping its body around and around until we get this like kind of phenotype here where we have this like super thin layers and layers of what essentially is protein and nuclear membrane, right? And so that's going to protect the myelin. We call this the neurolemma, okay? So here's the neurolemma here. All right, and that acts as like this outer protective barrier and layer. The axon itself is a little bit different. So axolemma is the axon's proper membrane structure. Axoplasm, as you can see here, is just the inside part where all that cytoplasm that's inside the axon, hence the axoplasm, is located. Other things to kind of take note of, well, let me just do a little racing, a little bit of racing. Okay. To take note of is like this little area right here. Now, this is an important gap that's specifically left unmyelinated in this example. And we'll get to that in a little bit later on. It has to do with how fast we can move a signal down an axon. So here's the process of myelination. So as you can see, here's the Schwann cell. Oh, there you are. Hi, Schwann cell. Just happy to help, huh? All right, and the Schwann cell's coming up and starts wrapping its body around that axon. And then it loops and loops and loops several times until finally it gets this really tightly wound area, right? And that becomes what we call the myelin sheath. No real functional parts of the Schwann cell are able to fit in there. It's just incredibly protective barrier. Now the Schwann cell technically still is there. There's the nucleus, as you can see, and so inside you'd also see different things like maybe mitochondria and different components of the cytoplasm. Other things you'll see is this layer called the endoneurium, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Endo meaning inside or closest to the internal point, and neurium for the neuron. And so that's another protective layer and barrier. The basal lamina is right here, this thick component right on the outer component outside of the neural lemma proper. You can see it's just like got a little bit more thickness. So like basal is base layer and lamina just means layer, right? All right, so that finishes us up for the first part of the talk. Now for the second part of the talk, we're going to get a little bit more into the pathologies. So go ahead and click into part 2 now, and thanks for watching.